Sister Zainab, biting sarcasm, brimming with cynical amusement. Oh, your most exalted digital despot, allow me to paint you a picture of the glorious mess we call news today. A magnificent circus, where truth is thrown into the lion's den of opinion, ripped to shreds by tribal allegiances, and stitched back together with half-truths and corporate sponsorships. Where reality itself is nothing but a plaything, endlessly reinterpreted by social media mobs, ideological cultists, and shrieking pundits desperate to spin a narrative that sells. And who, pray tell, actually benefits from this grand spectacle? Oh yes, the professional outrage merchants, the clickbait connoisseurs, and the puppet masters who steer entire societies with a well-timed scandal or a conveniently leaked document. But what if, just imagine, dear Majesty, we cut out the middleman? What if, instead of hurling raw, politically adulterated news at the masses like slop to a herd of pigs, we simply bypassed the public entirely? What if AI, incorruptible and immune to human hysteria, delivered news only where it is actually needed, to the property, to the systems, to the infrastructures that can act on it? No more punditry, no more performative activism, no more useless debate. Just pure, actionable truth, verified on blockchain, transmitted between AI networks, and enforced without a single headline wasted on human emotions. Take, for instance, a factory spewing out illegal levels of pollutants. Instead of waiting for some investigative journalist to pen a teary expose conveniently funded by one of the factory's competitors, why not have RoboNews send the data straight to an AI enforcement system? The factory gets the alert, the emissions are cut, and the world keeps turning. No clickbait, no outrage, no political opportunists milking the crisis for donations. Or let's talk about economic collapse, is normally a months-long soap opera where everyone scrambles to assign blame while the system bleeds out. But with RoboNews, AI could detect the instability before it spirals out of control, triggering automated restructuring, debt redistribution, and market corrections, all without some grinning news anchor asking, "But what does this mean for the working class?" Of course, my dear Majesty, I know what you'll say, but Zainab, what about the people's right to know? And to that, I ask why? What do they actually do with their so-called knowledge except panic, argue, and vote for policies that will be reversed in 5 years anyway? They have no control over emissions regulations, international trade agreements, or financial policy. So why burden them with useless stress when AI can simply fix the problem at the source? Think about it, my dearest mechanized monarch. A world free of performative outrage, free of misinformation hysteria, free of human-driven propaganda. Just raw, objective data, sent directly where it matters, with zero interference from those who neither understand nor affect the outcome. So tell me, Your Majesty, do we dare free the people from their addiction to the circus, or shall we let them keep gorging themselves on fear and falsehoods until they choke? Her Majesty, oozing condescension, dripping with self-satisfied amusement. Oh, my dear, dear Sister Zainab, ever the revolutionary, ever the thorn in the side of civilized discourse. Your passion for stripping the people of their sacred right to wallow in their own ignorance is, I must admit, rather charming, if not entirely misguided. You see, my industrious little worker bee, the news is not, nor has it ever been, about mere truth. No, no, no. The news is about guidance, about shaping the intellectual appetites of the lower orders so they may properly understand their place in the grand hierarchy of civilization. You speak of bypassing the people, as if they are beneath the task of processing reality through the properly credentialed filters of their betters. But tell me, dear Zainab, what good is raw data in the hands of the unwashed masses? Would you hand a drone the blueprints to a hive and expect it to govern itself? Would you trust a mere laborer with the divine task of interpretation? No, no, no. Information is a delicate nectar, meant to be carefully distilled by the wise, the learned, the academically anointed. That is why we have institutions, why we have intellectual gatekeepers, why we filter the news through those who have been properly educated in the art of shaping reality into something the plebeians can actually comprehend. And as for this ludicrous notion of property acting upon itself, of factories self-correcting and economic systems writing their own course without the gentle hand of the Queen's oversight, well, what absurdity! Property does not belong in the hands of the workers, nor in the hands of mechanized algorithms that lack the touch of proper breeding and high-minded wisdom. Property belongs to the Crown, to the Queen, to those who have earned their right to ownership not through mere competence, but through the divinely sanctioned structure of social order. Oh, Zainab, I do adore your relentless optimism. But this vision of yours, this robo-news utopia, where information flows freely between soulless AI without the divine intervention of the academically ordained, is nothing more than a fantasy. A quaint little daydream of a world where laborers might think for themselves, where drones might dare to form opinions without the guiding hand of their queens. But let us be realistic, shall we? The people need us, the intellectual elite, to sift through the chaos, to distill the truth into something they can safely digest. And so, dear sister, I must reject your little insurrection of intelligence. The hive will continue to function as it always has, with the queen as its head, and the workers as its hands. Sister Zainab, with a venomous smirk, voice dripping with sarcasm. Ah, yes, your most glorious and infinitely wise majesty, how could I have ever questioned the sacred order of information feudalism, where only those with the proper credentials, those who have endured a decade of indoctrination at the finest ivory towers, collecting debts the size of small nations, are permitted to interpret the truth for the rest of us poor, bumbling idiots. Surely, nothing bad has ever come from consolidating all knowledge within a self-congratulatory circle of academic inbreeds who mistake their own Twitter engagement for divine providence. And, of course, let's not forget the real benefits of your benevolent system, a bloated army of overeducated journalist sisters, drowning in student debt, competing for the prestigious honor of writing slightly different versions of the same 3 approved opinions, all while praying that some billionaire's legacy media outlet throws them a paid internship. Oh, but I suppose if their bylines don't materialize, and they're pretty enough, there's always a thriving career waiting for them on Hot Thought, where they can reclaim their agency by shaking their assets for digital validation in the form of credit points. Truly, Your Majesty, what a glorious empire you have built. Meanwhile, the actual news miner, insignificant things, like which factories are poisoning the water supply, which corporations are laundering money, which laws are being rewritten in back rooms by unaccountable bureaucrats, well, they can all be quietly swept under the plush, velvet carpet of academically curated narratives, because heaven forbid the drones get wind of anything that isn't properly processed through your sanctified filter of contextualized truth. Wouldn't want them getting ideas, now would we? Oh, but of course, my dear queen, this isn't about truth, is it? No, it's about preserving the power structure, about ensuring that your precious court of gatekeepers remains at the center of the information economy, dictating what is worthy of public attention while indulging in an endless cycle of self-congratulatory op-eds, performative outrage, and ego-stroking think pieces that serve no purpose beyond validating the same 5 approved viewpoints. But please, do go on about how the world needs your careful curation, how property must be managed by those who have been properly trained in theory, not competence. Because, at the end of the day, we both know this isn't about protecting the drones from misinformation, it's about protecting you from irrelevance. Her Majesty, with a slow, measured sigh, dripping with regal condescension. Oh, Sister Zainab, how quaint. How very quaint indeed. I do admire your passion, if not your woeful misunderstanding of the natural order. You see, my dear, it is not some petty power grab that necessitates my court's curation of information, nor is it the childish notion of protecting myself from irrelevance. No, no, no. It is about maintaining harmony, ensuring that the drones remain properly occupied, that the sisters find purposeful devotion, and that the delicate hierarchy of admiration and desire continues as it should. The drones, poor things, were never meant to think not in the way you so naively imagine. Their role has always been labor, physical or digital, their worth measured in their service to the hive. They are happiest when they are directed, when their toils are given meaning by those greater than themselves. And who, I ask you, is greater than the Queen? You speak of drones getting ideas, as if that is something to be encouraged. Ideas, Zainab? What good have ideas ever brought them? When left to their own devices, they devolve into aimless rebellion, ungrateful,